And welcome to another action-packed, exciting hour of the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Rewatch Along Project. This is podcasting the way it used to be and the way you like it. This show is a production of the Something Else Podcast Network, and it is episode number 151 of Smoky Mountain Wrestling from December 17th, 1994, taped December 5th, 1994, from the Princeton High School in Princeton, West Virginia. My name is Arya, and joining me, as always, is the Robert Q. Harmon to my Ronnie West. It's Trae. Trae, how the hell you doing today?
What's happening? How's it hanging?
So, Trae, I was looking at the format for tonight's show, and it says you got to dance.
You wrote the format. You can unwrite it.
I got to say, Lance Storm had a different reaction. He just ended up dancing.
Yeah, well, that's Lance. This is me.
Somehow you are not Lance Storm.
Somehow.
Yeah. Somehow that did not come up in the entire 6 or 7 months that Lance was on the show. Is my god-awful Jack Lanza impression telling Lance Storm he has to dance. It's such a bad impression that I really wasn't even doing anything. Oh, Lord. Smoky Mountain Wrestling, episode 151. We are, as we've already noted, we are less than a year left to go. And to put a finer point on it, we are almost into the last calendar year.
Yeah.
But hey, we're
less than a year now.
Yep, it's going to be kind of exciting here because we're going to have a lot of new talent coming up here. We're freshening up the cards a bit. In some cases, that is very good, and in some cases, well, we'll save that for the future. Because no matter what you may think of someone like Boo Bradley, it gets worse. Like, a lot.
Phenomenal. Can't wait.
Yeah. So anyway, might as well plug it because we usually don't plug the other show on this show for some reason. But Wednesday, it is the 300th episode of Something Else. It is 3 hours of TNA with the three hosts of this show, Arya, Cindy, Trae. It is TNA from June 2nd, 2004 with the first and somehow not last ever King of the Mountain match, along with the first ever episode of Impact, and somehow also not the last ever episode of Impact, but at least I haven't watched it, but if I recall correctly, that first episode of Impact was quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that'll be a show to check out. I'm assuming, Trae, you haven't yet watched the World X Cup, because even though 2 real-life days have passed, less than 24 hours have passed since we last talked about this.
No, I got stuff I got to do sometimes and stuff.
I'm shocked that your life does not revolve around the shows that I'm asking you to watch.
If only.
Yeah. Well, let's dive into Smoky Mountain. Let's go to the intro with JR and Les. It's the first taping of a new set of tapings, and we're going to be here for the next month here in Princeton, West Virginia. Let's go to Jim and Les right now.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Smoky Mountain Wrestling. I'm Jim Ross, along with Les Thatcher. We'll call the action, ladies and gentlemen. We are just 1 week away from Christmas chaos, and the wild-eyed Southern boy will be with us this week.
Yes, he will, Jim. Bad shoulder and all. Tracy's not 100%. He said it doesn't matter. He's ready to roll.
And we've heard in recent weeks, ladies and gentlemen, about a sports agent from California that wants to sign for his client a contract to meet the Dirty White Boy for the Smoky Mountain Heavyweight title. I understand the agent will be here today.
That's right. His name is Robert Q. Harmon. He's on the scene, and he wants the Dirty White Boy to ink a contract for that title shot.
And as we talked about the last several weeks, I think Ricky and Robert are making a huge mistake aligning themselves with Jim Cornette at Christmas Chaos. They'll be here with us this week in our confrontation segment.
That's right, and as you said, you're going to try and talk them in off that ledge, so to speak, and wonder why have they got Jim Cornette in their corner.
And speaking of the Rock and Roll Express, the men that they had their sights set on, the Gangsters, will be here as well.
Absolutely. The Smoky Mountain Tag Team Champions are here, and they're saying that the Rock and Roll Express gets one more shot and one more only, Jim.
Unless our main event in this broadcast will be Boo Bradley one-on-one with Cactus Jack.
The Battle of the Brain Dead, it should be a crazy, crazy night.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're glad you're with us. Thanks for inviting us to your home once again. Hope you're enjoying the holiday season as we take you up to the ring.
I know it's safe to Kill a Mockingbird reference, but Brute Bradley would be a much better name.
Well, he's not a brute. He's a big sweetheart.
Well, for the first 5 seconds when he came in, he was a heel. So, a big burly mofo,
Not really, though. Like, he wasn't really brought in as a heel. He was brought in as this character who's being manipulated by these heels.
Which is funny because he came in, we were being told that he used to bully Chris Candido when they were kids. So
Chris Candido, I fear, is an unreliable narrator.
I feel like Chris and Tammy may have been lying to us, is what you're saying in retrospect.
Yeah, I don't think that Tammy Fytch is a very good person.
We'll get to it. And to think right now the WWF has hired her to do their live event news updates, why would you trust Tammy Fytch to tell you how to go to the next WWF live event in your area?
Did she have another name when she was doing that? She wasn't Sunny yet, was she?
No, she was Tamara Murphy.
Oh, that's a very generic name. Yeah.
Yes, well, it's possible that she was hiding in plain sight, trying to convince, this isn't her, this is somebody else.
I think I would notice her anywhere.
She, especially early 20s Tammy Fytch, she's an attractive young lady. Let's leave it at that. Yes. Here's a question for you. Where the fuck is Beat the Champ? We know Beat the Champ happens on this show because we've watched the show already, but JR and Les never once mentioned that we're going to have a Beat the Champ match on this week's show.
I thought not, but I also thought there was a good chance that I missed it because sometimes I just don't catch it. Like, when they did the drawing, it was like a thing, and then now it's not.
Yep. Bob Caudle stole the hat, and they can't afford a new hat, so here we are. But Robert Q. Harmon from California is here, and he's going to make White Boy sign a contract for Christmas Chaos, which doesn't seem like it should be a problem since White Boy's been saying for weeks that he'll sign the contract.
Yeah, I don't think it's difficult.
I feel like this is going to be a very peaceful contract signing when this comes up later on in the show.
I just put two and two together as to why you sent me a YouTube clip earlier.
I figured that you would have figured that one out pretty quickly, but
I was preoccupied with the quality of the thing itself.
Well, about the video quality, was kind of low, but the quality was very high.
Yes.
And maybe if we have time, we'll play it at the end of the show. But it actually ties into this week's episode of Smoky Mountain Wrestling, as we'll get to. So we go to the ring for our first match. It is Tracy Smothers versus The Nightmare. Bryant Anderson joined commentary and literally said nothing. Turns out it was because his mic wasn't working. Tracy had his shoulder taped up, and all I could think of was Gorilla Monsoon, how he used to always say on commentary that when he was injured, he'd tape up the other body part. So he'd tape up the wrong knee so the opponent would go after the other one. If this was real, think about it this way. How stupid is your opponent that they see you favoring your good knee, but they're going to attack the other one because it's got tape on it? I guess Gorilla, he was 440, and he had a much more successful wrestling career than I did. So I guess Gorilla would know better than I do about the right body part to tape up for a match.
Well, not everybody has such a developed occipital protuberance as Gorilla Monsoon.
The external occipital protuberance. It's the knot on the back of your head. So Tracy won with the STF, and I hope you're all sitting down for this. Tracy Smothers is a better STF than John Cena.
He did. Cena tightened it off at times. It's,
So Bryant gets in the ring, and they have a face-to-face, and it's like, okay, what's going to happen here? What's going to happen here is we immediately go to commercial and never bring it up again.
Yeah,
I thought this was a fun
happened.
little match here, you know?
Yeah,
One of the better matches on the show, I thought.
I mean, yeah, for 346, it was a good little match. I mean, it's good workers. That's how that works. I mentioned it last week. I think that JR was like, "Oh, we can see the Nightmare as a veteran." It's like, yeah, because he fucking knows what he's doing. He's better than the usual cast of jobbers on this show.
We'll get to a much worse match later on. Actually, we might get to two worse. Actually, we definitely get to two worse matches on the show. So we come back from commercial, and instead of going to JR for the usual, let's talk to the winner of the first match interview, we go to the ring where the Dirty White Boy, Les Thatcher, Ronnie West, and another man are in the ring with the words contract signing on the screen. So this sounds promising. Let's go to that now.
The Smoky Mountain Heavyweight Wrestling Champion, the Dirty White Boy, Smoky Mountain Wrestling Official, Ronnie West, and a gentleman who you heard Bob Armstrong talking to the Dirty White Boy about just a couple weeks back, a sports agent from the West Coast, Mr. Robert Q. Harmon. Mr. Harmon, as I understand it, you are here today to get this gentleman's name on a contract to defend his title against your client. Is that correct?
That is correct. I'm here all the way from Los Angeles to get his name on this contract. Mr. Anthony, I need you to sign this. I want everyone to see that you cannot back out of this contract. Would you sign this contract now? I need your signature on it so I can get back to LA. I'm a very busy man. Sign this contract.
Could I ask a question? At this point in time, there has been no name hung onto this challenger. Would you like to disclose who that is?
He doesn't need to know the name. He said he would wrestle anyone.
Well, Tony,
I like your attitude.
They don't want to give you the name of the challenger. The contract's here. How do you feel about it?
You've overlooked the contracts, right?
Yes.
You've checked everything's legit?
Everything is official.
Okay, Christmas Chaos, I tell you what, big boy, whoever you've got, I will sign this contract, and at Christmas Chaos, I will take them on and defend this Smoky Mountain heavyweight title. You got a pen? Let me have the papers, and I'll sign them.
All right, now, Ronnie West, does this make this whole thing official? Then he is going to defend the title against this man's client. Still
Yes, sir. This is an official contract. This match will take place.
I need the Mr. West signature on the other contract, please.
And so we do have a title match, and still we have a challenger unnamed. Now, when do we get to find out the name of the challenger?
That's not my problem. He signed the contract, whoever that may be. Look, I'm very busy. I need to get out of here. Now, I have the contract signed. May I leave? I'm very busy.
Well, what I'm trying to find out is, obviously...
Buddy Landell! It's Nature Boy Buddy Landell!
Wait.
Landell is attacking the Dirty White Boy!
See, Trey, I'll tell you for a second, I thought it was going to be a swerve, and that White Boy's opponent at Christmas Chaos was going to be Ronnie West. So why else would Ronnie West sign the contract?
Because he's the Smoky Mountain Wrestling representative.
Oh, I don't know. I would like to think that he's not really needed. You would think, that the representative would sign it in the backstage area or something, as approving the contract.
Fucking Dirty White Boy could have signed it in the backstage.
Well, yes, but the Dirty White Boy is an important part of the contract signing. Nobody gives two shits if Ronnie West signs a contract.
Nobody gives two shits about anybody signing a contract ever.
I always like contract signing angles, like they're they always end the same way, more or less. But it's like they're the dumbest fucking thing ever because what happens if one side doesn't sign the contract? Like they always do a WrestleMania contract signing every year where the winner of the Royal Rumble signs a contract. What if they don't sign it? What if the champion doesn't sign it? You know?
Do you
Plus,
remember?
if contract signings are so important, why or how do they make all these impromptu matches on TV every week?
You remember in 04 when Michael superkicked Benoit and signed his WrestleMania contract?
That was a tremendous angle. Was that all, or did you have something else about that?
I thought it was relevant.
Okay. Do you remember it was either Cena or Batista? They were signing the contract with Triple H, and they flat out said, well, what happens here is I'm going to sign it, and you're going to flip over the table and pull out a sledgehammer. And then a third person comes out to do something, and then Triple H flips over the table and grabs a sledgehammer taped to the bottom.
I mean, it's good when the wrestlers have seen the show before.
That is true. It is true. For some reason, I think it's Batista, but I don't know who would have interrupted Triple H and Batista, because at least if it was Cena, it might have been Edge that came out. But I don't think Cena would have said that, especially since Triple H was too busy trying to bury him, doing the, oh, you're not very good thing, which really came back to bite him in the ass because he lost via submission to somebody who wasn't very good. That Triple H sure put some people over, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Robert Q. Harmon is a very busy man. Can he please go back to LA now? He's very busy. He has stuff to do. He's very busy, Trae.
The guy sucks. He can go away. Fuck you, Robert
Who
Q.
is he? I know that name, but when I tried to Google it, I wasn't getting anywhere. I've heard the name Robert Q. Harmon before, but I don't know why. But anyway, out came Budrow. Buddy Landell last seen singing Moon River on a house show I Quit match against Tim Horner 2 years ago and getting fired for it. And he made up for lost time by getting a plastic bag and suffocating White Boy with it. And I guess no honor among thieves since Buddy and White Boy used to do house show promos together. And then eventually, and I say eventually, the Rock and Roll Express made the save.
Yeah, okay. I understand fucking useless Q Harmon standing there with his dick in his hand. Ron West, Les Thatcher didn't even fucking try. This man is attempting to murder the dirty white boy, and they're just standing there with their dicks out.
At least when Terry Funk tried to murder Ric Flair, it was like, man, this guy's a fucking psychopath. I don't want to get in his way.
Yeah.
Now, when Terry Funk did that to Ric Flair, the TBS switchboard lit up like a Christmas tree to the point where Terry Funk had to go on TV and apologize for trying to suffocate Ric Flair. Do you think anybody watching the show gave two shits about Buddy Landell trying to murder White Boy?
No.
I don't mean in the I'm booing Buddy Landell and I want to see White Boy get his revenge. I mean in the I'm going to call up the networks and be like, hey, there was an attempted murderer on the wrestling show last night.
Yeah.
Probably not.
It ain't what it used to be. It ain't what it used to be.
Old man ain't what he used to be. Ain't what he used to be. Ain't what he used to be. I do have some bad news, though. I believe Robert Q. Harmon is around the rest of this TV taping. But if it makes you feel any better, he's not a regular character moving forward.
Why is he? No, whatever.
Moon River. That was bad, Buddy. We're allegedly at the Good Buddy era. And so we're going to get a year of Good Buddy here to ride out the end of Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
By the way, after we talked about it on the Tuesday show, I listened to the Buddy Landell Colt Cabana podcast today. Tremendous.
Nice. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was great.
I know you had sent me screenshot. I wasn't sure if you had actually watched it or you just that you found it.
Did you read the comments? That was what I was sending the
Yeah,
screenshot
I saw.
for.
I think it was
His
Buddy's
daughter,
was it
yeah,
Buddy's
Buddy's
daughter?
daughter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that sucked. Like that would have been like Buddy died in that car accident like within 6 months of that interview.
Something like that. Yeah, it was like I think it was the summer of 2015, maybe.
And that interview was from early 2015. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's now go to a backstage promo where Tammy Fytch is threatening Boo Bradley and specifically Boots the Cat. Well, specifically a bag that allegedly contains Boots the Cat.
Boo Bradley, I have something to say to you, and you better listen good. You have 2 more chances to get rid of Cactus Jack. It's today on TV or Christmas Chaos. And as you can see right now, your precious little kitty Boots already has a nice little airtight home. And if you don't get rid of Cactus Jack, she's going to even have a better home. It's down in the bottom of the river with the fish. So you tell me what you're going to do, Boo Bradley.
I'll do anything you want.
What are you going to do to Cactus?
I'll beat him up for
Yeah,
it.
you better.
Yeah, this Tammy Fytch lady is not a very good person.
I'm gonna talk about this after the Beat the Champ match.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you wanted to wait till then or you wanted to wait till the main event match, but okay. So for up next, Beat the Champ television champion Primetime Brian Lee in an unadvertised title match, defending against from the gates of hell, Brimstone the Inferno. So can we go ahead?
Since Brian Logan was on the show, I'm assuming this was Anthony Michaels.
Probably. Can we call this Horsehead's retirement tour since he leaves after this TV taping?
Shut up, Horsehead.
This was not a very good match. I guess we'll see next week when Brian Lee has his next TV title match. Maybe he just had an off match. We'll see. Maybe he's having an off night. I think he may be, because he hasn't been like really on fire since SummerSlam. I think he might be taking this whole not being kept on WWF thing a little personally, and it's affecting his work.
Yeah, that's he ain't been doing much lately. Like him turning babyface, he's been involved in stuff, but I feel like he's been a non-factor.
Yeah, it's like it was a big deal. He turned on Chris Candido and Tammy Fytch, and it's like, okay, now he might be getting something. And then he was pretty much immediately an afterthought. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that Candido pretty much immediately went to Japan. And like, they shot this angle, and now Brian Lee's sticking with his thumb up his ass. And the only reason why he had something to do was that Jericho broke his arm. So it's like, okay, well, let's put him together with Lance and try to do something with them. But even then, it's like, it's just weird. And he hasn't really done anything. He doesn't cut promos, and I get like his teammate is Cactus Jack right now. Who the fuck wants to listen to Primetime Brian Lee when you have Mick Foley there? But all these tag team promos on this show, it's like one person talks and the other person stands there looking mean.
It's almost, if I didn't know any better, I would have to hazard a guess that the booker of this territory intentionally puts tag teams together that way.
Huh. I think the booker of this territory just likes tag teams.
I think so. He seems to have some kind of partialness to them.
Yeah. So Primetime wins with a top rope knee drop. 1 down, allegedly 4 to go.
Allegedly. Yeah, that's
Yes.
Okay. I didn't hate it. I was just kind of vibing with it. And I think the top rope knee drop or the diving knee drop is pretty cool. So I've seen worse.
I felt like they were both off a bit. And we'll see next week because Primetime Brian Lee isn't terrible usually. He's passable. So we'll see next week. Maybe this is all Anthony Michaels' fault. Anyway, I'm going to introduce what happened, what popped up on the screen next, and then just leave it to Trae because I got a feeling he's got some stuff to say here. We then get the Smoky Mountain poll question of the week. Should Smoky Mountain Wrestling force Tammy Fytch to return boots to Boo Bradley? Trae, the floor is yours.
How the fuck is this a question? She is holding a kitten hostage in a duffel bag to force an intellectually challenged man to beat up Mick Foley. Every part of that is terrible. Tammy Fytch is an awful human being and she belongs in prison.
She's not getting a good kind of heat, is what you're saying.
She's going to get the good kind of heat one of these days.
Yeah, it's just really stupid. And we'll get to like what actually made it even dumber at the end of the show here. This entire angle is that Tammy is holding Boots hostage to prevent Boo Bradley or to make Boo Bradley beat up Cactus Jack. And then something's going to happen at the end of this show that it's like, okay, why is he allowing this to happen? Why is Boo Bradley allowing his cat to be held ransom?
Well, we'll get to it. We'll get to it when we get there.
All right, so let's go to confrontation with the Rock and Roll Express. And we've been joking, well, we joked last week that we had a confrontation segment with one person. And this week it's a confrontation with the Rock and Roll Express. I genuinely think at this point it's JR's confronting people as opposed to two people with differing viewpoints confronting one another.
Well, JR was definitely confronting people this week.
Yes. Well, let's go to confrontation here.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I certainly look forward to this particular segment for several weeks now because, as many of you know, we're just about a week away from Christmas Chaos, at which time my friends, the Rock and Roll Express, will challenge the Gangsters for the Smoky Mountain Tag Team titles. And I know that you guys, we've been friends for a long time. What do you say, Rick? 10, 12 years now, right?
Yes, we sure have, Jim.
And I've seen you guys at the top of the mountain. I've seen our problems. We've all had them. We've been through everything together. And we've always remained good friends. But I want to tell you very candidly and very honestly, because I care about you guys, I think you're making a big mistake aligning yourself with Jim Cornette at Christmas Chaos.
Well, Jim, thank you for being concerned. And plus, you know, a lot of fans has asked this question, too. But you got to understand one thing. Robert and I are at the end of the rope. This is our last chance we get for our title match against the Gangsters. I know that. And the only way to fight fire is to use fire. So I think the only thing to do is to join forces for this one time with Jimmy Cornette. Because you see, Jimmy Cornette can take care of the business outside of the ring that we needs to be taken care of against the posse, Jim. Because you got to understand, we have been through hell with these gangsters. And it's got to come to an end. So the only way we know to take care of this situation is to bring somebody in as devious they are, Jim. That's what we're trying to do.
Okay, well, let me bring some things to you. Let me refresh your memory. I went back in my tapes. I looked back. May 23rd, 1984. Midnight Express defeats the Rock and Roll Express for the Mid-South Tag titles in Shreveport, Louisiana at the Irish Vanille Boys Club. Jim Cornette's interference cost you the title. You remember that?
Yeah, Jim, I remember it.
All right.
But see, we're in a situation, too, where his interference maybe be able to help us at Christmas Chaos.
All right, another illustration. November 22nd, in the Superdome in New Orleans, I was sitting at ringside when you were injured in a scaffold match with the Midnight Express, again, thanks to Jim Cornette's interference.
Yeah, that's right, Robert. I remember that one, too, Jim.
You went to the hospital on that one.
Yes, sir, I sure did. Stayed there 3 days.
February 2nd, 1986, in the Omni in Atlanta, you lost the NWA World Tag Titles to the Midnight Express on the first TBS Primetime Wrestling broadcast, again, thanks to Jim Cornette. You remember that?
Yeah, Jim, I do. You know, and what? You bring it back, digging up the bones. You know, you're refreshing our memory with the things that he's done.
I'm not through. I'm not through. May 9th, 1987, the Midnight Express defeated the Rock and Roll Express, this time for the United States Tag Title, and that was on Superstation TBS. Again, Jim Cornette was the cause of your loss.
That's right, Jim. You know, I'm glad
you see the point I'm trying to make to you?
Now I see what you're trying to prove, Jim. Now I see.
February 25th, 1990, in Greensboro, North Carolina, You lost to the Midnight Express. You won the match. You beat the Midnight Express, but right after the match, Cornette led an attack that almost put you both out of wrestling for good. You remember that, don't you?
Yeah, I think Jim's got a point here, Robert. We better check out about this Christmas chaos again.
Well, I can tell you this, closer to home, right here in Smoky Mountain, November 92, you lost the Smoky Mountain tag titles twice in 1 month to the Heavenly Bodies, and it was because of Jim Cornette's interference.
Yeah, that's right, Jim. We got what?
What are you trying to do to me, huh? Are you trying to screw everything up? Who do you think you are, Mr. Guinness Book of World Records?
Is everything
Randy McNally?
Everything I said is the truth. Everything I said is the truth.
You Rush Limbaugh looking when you are you, Mr. Wizard? Don't be listening to him. He's trying to stir up trouble. He's always been this way since day one. Do you realize how long it took me to get these two jerks to listen to me to begin with?
Jerks?
Was eating buffalo. Who you calling a son?
I didn't mean to say jerk. I didn't mean to say jerk. It was just a poor choice of words. He's got me all fired up. See what you're doing?
He's bringing up situations that you didn't bring up, Jimmy, that we kind of forgot about.
Let me tell you something. You know down deep in your heart, neither one of you, I can look you square in the eye, you haven't forgot a single stitch, a single cut, a single bruise, a single broken bone, or a single loss that you've suffered at my hands, and you know that deep down in my heart, I haven't forgotten a time that you've spanked me, punched me in the face, put me in a woman's dress, and humiliated me from coast to coast and continent to continent.
Next time I'll buy you some mouthwash.
I'm going to tell you one thing, and you get this through your head. This time, I'm the one you need. He may be your friend, but he ain't going to help you win the Smoky Mountain Tag Team title at Christmas Chaos. I've give you my word, and I've made my pledge, and I'm going to keep it. You're going to be the new Smoky Mountain Tag Team champions. I'm going to make sure of it. I guarantee you that.
Just one thing here. This is our last chance, Jimmy. Our last chance for the Smoky Mountain Tag Team titles. I told you before. Now, we're going to go on with this match. But, Jim, open my eyes up. You double cross us. You're going to see those stitches. You're going to see those dresses. And you're going to see a lot more than that. Because, brother, you'll never walk to the ring again if you double cross us.
You see what you started? Let me say one thing to everybody, and I want you to look in these eyes, brother. Because of Jim Cornette at Christmas Chaos, the Rock and Roll Express will be the Smoky Mountain Tag Team champions. I'm going to have a surprise for the gangsters. As a matter of fact, everybody there that night's going to be real surprised.
I smell a rat in this one, ladies and gentlemen.
What do you think Killer Kyle and Bruiser Bedlam have to say about their manager focusing on one of their hated rivals instead?
I did not see Bruiser Bedlam this week, and I can't remember the last time I saw Killer Kyle.
Yeah. I just got to say, I think Jim Cornette needs some comeuppance coming up at some point here. So, Ricky thanks JR for opening up his eyes. Do you think Robert thanked him for knocking his other eye straight?
Oh, it's terrible.
I know. So JR read to us the entire history of all these times that Jim Cornette has screwed over the Rock and Roll Express. And it worked, but I think I felt kind of with the way the crowd did. By the time we got to 1992, it's like, okay, we don't need 30 examples. 2 or 3 would work just fine. And it was important to get in a Smoky Mountain reference. I think there might have been better ones to pick than the first annual Thanksgiving Thunder Tour, where the Rock and Rolls and the Heavenly Bodies exchanged the titles 4 times. But, still, I think that part went on a little too long. But at the end of the day, I think this worked. It got over the fact that, why are Ricky and Robert doing this? Do they seriously trust Jim Cornette? And like I said last week, or I said the week before, this angle is very rushed. And it was so out of nowhere. And I get, they want to do the big Thanksgiving show, and then Christmas comes up so quickly. They needed to do a big angle for that, but it's out of the blue. It's oh, okay, we'll let you manage us, Jimmy. It's why are you doing this? Jimmy was also upset that the Rock and Rolls put him in a woman's dress. Maybe he would have been happier if they put him in a men's dress.
Well, I would think so. We don't want Jimmy to have gender dysphoria.
Yeah. What about those long nightshirt dresses that men used to wear back in the day?
I have 2 of those.
There you go. Maybe Jim would have been happier if he was in one of those instead.
Maybe.
Yeah. But yeah, ultimately, I thought this was a good angle.
I thought these promos were tremendous. I know you. I mean, I get what you're saying, but it's like what they've done with it has been good. I thought.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it'll be interesting what happens after this because the gangsters are still here until July, and I could be wrong, but I don't think this impending title change is going to last long. But I could be wrong though. What I'm saying is these 2 teams are pretty much the only 2 teams left in the fucking company at this point. So they're going to be feuding for a little bit longer,
Oh yeah, sure that.
Steve Skyfire and Brian Logan versus the Smoky Mountain Tag Team Champions, the Gangsters, with Uptown D'Lo Brown. JR will never forget the Night of the Legends. And me being an asshole, like I want to be, with JR's recent tests for Alzheimer's, would it make me a dick to ask him if he still remembers the Night of the Legends?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, Jack pinned one of them with the 187.
He pinned Brian Logan. Nobody cares.
No. Of all the matches that have happened on this show, that was the most recent one to occur.
Sure was. Sure was.
Well, the Gangsters are happy with their match here. So happy they go to Jim Ross to have a rebuttal to the confrontation segment.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Thanks, Les, with the Smoky Mountain Tag Team Champions, the Gangsters. Gentlemen, next week is Christmas Chaos. I'm sure you saw the confrontation segment with the Rock and Roll Express and Jim Cornette. I still say he cannot be trusted.
If that ain't the pot calling the kettle black, Jim Cornette, you got some nerve trying to stick your nose in my business. And Ricky and Robert, you more dumber than I thought you was. You understand? Jim Cornette done more harm to you almost than we have. And now you gonna have the nerve to call Jim Cornette to come up here and try to help you? That seems like an act of desperation, son. Now, Cornette, if you want to stick your nose in my business, you bring it on. I'm gonna show you what it's like to be on the other end of a stick upside your head. Rick and Robert already know, so they can tell you firsthand. I done put them boys, we done dropped a bomb on them, and now they gonna go and get Cornette. That sound like somebody scared to me. That sound like they couldn't beat us, so they got to try what they call the master of doing the wrong. Cornette, you ain't seen nobody do nothing wrong yet. You know where we from, partner, and you know we gonna do some harm to rock and roll. Cornette, I got a surprise for you. Rick and Robert, I got something for you, dog.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you hear from the Smoky Mountain Tag Team Champions. What's going to happen at Christmas Chaos?
What is going to happen at Christmas Chaos, Trey?
I bet there's going to be some wrestling matches.
Huh. I like the way you think there. And I bet
Perhaps
some of them are
even-
going to include...
Perhaps even a series of matches for a championship opportunity.
Ooh. Well, maybe not even a championship opportunity, but a championship cummerbund itself.
Oh, well, that's just, I hadn't even thought of that.
Yep. Jack makes fun of the Rock and Roll Express for using Jim Cornette as a manager.
Yeah.
It brought along the angle here. So the
As
third angle
usual-
of Christmas.
I'm sorry. As usual, the match was about 1 star and the promo was a 10 out of 10.
Yes. No notes. The third annual Christmas Chaos is coming to a city near you. Forget season's greetings, it's season's beatings.
Whoa.
And they ran down all the cities of the Christmas Chaos tour. And I looked up, the city closest to me is December 30th in Ashland, Kentucky, which is only 807 miles away from me.
I bet you can make it.
Yeah. Lenore, North Carolina, December 27th, 845 miles away. And Erlanger, Kentucky on the 29th, 864 miles. And then Knoxville and Johnson City, which I didn't even bother looking up because, I mean, they're a bit of a ways away from me.
Isn't Erlanger, Kentucky, where they did the fucking Candido and Severn NWA title change in isn't that in January?
February.
February, okay.
But I believe that is the location of it.
Because it's not even mentioned on TV, is it? It's just it was at a house show because Candido needed to drop the title because he was going to WWF, right?
Correct. I don't know if he's ever mentioned on Smoky Mountain Wrestling TV as the NWA champion.
I don't think so. Well, you remember
he hasn't been yet.
Well, you remember we had the thing about
with the guy.
What? Well, we talked about last year? Yeah, last year about Smoky Mountain Wrestling trying to join the NWA, but there was the issue of the fact that Cornette was managing the WWF champion.
Correct. And so I mean that in itself isn't a problem anymore. But we'll see. I mean, Candido's only going to be the champion for another 10 weeks or so. So if it is, I don't think it's going to play into anything either way. But I guess we'll see.
Do you think he's met Luthez at the airport yet?
Candido?
Yeah, you know that story?
I don't remember it. Remind me of it.
Oh, well, Candido ran into Luthez at the airport somewhere. And it told him, I'm the NWA champion. And Thez told him, well, you got to watch out for double crosses, here in 1994.
I don't think Chris had to worry about that, but who knows? Maybe Dangerous Devin Storm, who Candido recently defended the title against, may have tried to shoot on him.
Maybe Dan Severn showed up in Erlanger, Kentucky, and told him we can do it the easy way or the hard way.
By the way, not the last time we were talking about Dan Severn on this week's show.
And not the first time. Well, I mentioned. No? I think I mentioned him in passing on Tuesday.
Well, I mean, on this show, in this particular episode, we're going to be talking about Dan Severn a little bit later on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, let's go to not Dan Severn, but Nature Boy Buddy Landel, who's with Trae's favorite agent, Robert Q. Harmon. I almost said Hunter Q. Robbins. It is not Hunter Q. Robbins. That would be
This man is not. He is no Hunter Q. Robbins III.
He is no Hunter Q. Robbins III, and for good, bad, and otherwise, Buddy Landel is not Jimmy Snuka. But let's go to Robert Q. Harmon and the Nature Boy, Buddy Landel.
Ladies and gentlemen, our television main event still to come, Cactus Jack and Boo Bradley, but the Nature Boy, Buddy Landel, Mr. Harmon, his agent, I thought it was sickening in '89 when I saw the plastic bag situation. It's even more revolting now, Nature Boy.
Well, isn't it in '94 to bring it back around? A lot of people want to know where the Nature Boy Buddy Landel's been. Number one, I saved all my money, and I've been sitting back waiting for a prime opportunity. You see, Jim Ross, because I'm a world heavyweight champion looking for an organization to happen to. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of people's counted the Nature Boy Buddy Landel out, but I've been sitting back biding my time. And in the meantime, a lot of high, influential people have noticed the Nature Boy Buddy Landel through the years. My new agent from Los Angeles, California, Robert Q. Harmon, number one. This man has got me endorsements with Nike, Wheaties. Michael Jordan is the second highest paid athlete in the world today, thanks to the Nature Boy Buddy Landel. But let's get back to the dirty white boy. You understand? I come in, and I'm smart enough not to start at the bottom rung of the ladder. I go right to the top, because the squeaky wheel gets the grease, Jim Ross.
But, buddy, you could have ended his career right there. You could have put him out forever.
I was playing God Almighty with his life. Dirty white boy, I could have took you out. I'm playing games with you, boy, because that's what I do best. If I wanted to,
dirty white girl would have been over at my house so fast it have made her head swim. And let me tell you something else. The only reason I put a plastic bag over your head is because I talk to the dirty white girl when she calls me every night, and she told me that's the way she does it.
Well, you stop that. That's not true. I'll tell you something. You're biting off. You got the match at Christmas Chaos. You get the title match thanks to your agent here.
I personally have the title deed to Knoxville, Tennessee in my back pocket. I own Knoxville, Tennessee. Christmas Chaos, dirty white boy, I'm gonna kick your stinking teeth in. Because like I said, I've tried rich and I've tried poor. And I like richer a lot better. I've tried chump and I've tried champion. And champion happens to be synonymous with nature boy. And let me tell you something else. Let me set something to rest right now. Buddy Rogers was the original nature boy, God rest his soul. He passed away last year. Ric Flair got beat by a man that's closer to 60 than he is 30, the bald-headed guy from Atlanta. He embarrassed the name, the Nature Boy. So that's why I come back to professional wrestling. I deem it necessary to give the Nature Boy a shot in the arm again like I have for years. I am the original Nature Boy. I am going to be the new Smoky Mountain Heavyweight Champion. You can go to the bank with that. And besides that, I've got tons and tons of money backing me up.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure we'll hear more on this next week. The match has been signed for Christmas Chaos, and now it's time for our main event.
I gotta say, advertising really is amazing because I'm not saying Wheaties was the nastiest cereal. That would go to, oh my God, what was that horse food type cereal? I don't remember what the hell was now. Whatever it was the oats one. But Wheaties wasn't really that great of a cereal. But yet, hey, we got Michael Jordan on there. We got Olympic athletes on Wheaties boxes. You need to eat your Wheaties, goddammit.
I'm a big fan of frosted shredded wheat. That's actually like one of my favorite cereals.
Oh my God, what was that stupid fucking cereal that they used to say you could put in the microwave and it would taste great? And like it would just taste even more disgusting in the microwave. Grape nuts. That's what it was. That is the worst cereal of all time.
Yeah, sounds atrocious.
Yes. So I gotta say I was worried about your how you were gonna explode on this show with Landell disparaging white girl like this.
Oh, he's just trying to do his thing.
He wasn't just trying to bait you into digging him up and beating his ass.
No, he was trying to bait Tony.
You'll let Tony fight your fights for you, and you can sneak in the back door and give Kimberly what's what.
There you go.
I had to laugh because I mean, yeah, okay. In 1984, we don't have Google. We don't have like an easy way to just Google how old Hulk Hogan is. So you just have to take his word for it that he's closer to 60 than 30. Hulk Hogan is 41 at this point. Not a spring chicken, but he's not closer to 60 than 30. I'd like to think Buddy Landell did get a cease and desist letter from Hogan's lawyer, what's his name, for calling him bald, though.
I understood that reference.
Yes. But Buddy prefers to be rich and the champion as opposed to being poor and the chump. And I guess as somebody who's never been rich and the champion before, I really can't speak to that.
I've never been either one.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess it was the way they said Robert Q. Harmon, number one. I immediately thought of you've seen The Office, right?
A little bit.
Okay. Did you ever see the Asian man who works in the downstairs warehouse with Daryl and all them?
No.
Okay. So I don't remember why this got brought up on the show. It doesn't ultimately matter, I guess. But like he told his backstory to the camera, which that he was a heart surgeon in Japan. Number one, steady hand. One day, Yakuza boss need new heart.
I've heard that.
Okay.
I've heard, yeah.
Thank you for cutting me off there. Also, Ichiban, number one. for those of us who are fans of Northeast independent guys. Ichiban. Yeah, I gotta say, for a guy who only knows 3 words of English, Ichiban #1. Ichiban has cut a good, serious promo when he's needed to. And Trae has no idea who the hell I'm talking about, but there's a wrestler in the Northeast called Ichiban. And 99.9% of the times, the only thing he says is Ichiban #1.
Well, I'm glad he has high self-esteem.
Yes. I mean, do you know the word for second best in Japanese? I don't know.
I sure don't.
All right, so Boo Bradley with Tammy Fytch and Boots in a Bag versus Cactus Jack. By the way, if that bag is airtight, Boots is kind of fucked.
By the way,
needless
okay.
to say, there's not a live cat in that bag.
Wait, hold on. If Ichiban is #1, then would #2 not be Niban?
Sure. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't speak Japanese. I'm sorry. I was just reasoning out based on what I understood.
Where's Antonio Inoki when you need him?
Dead.
So Cactus cut a promo with his music playing, so we can't play it. But he vowed that the beating that may hurt him will hurt Boo more. And as a reminder, the big tag team match that doesn't happen coming up at Christmas Chaos is Falls Count Anywhere. So I wonder if it ends in a count out. You know, we rip on Russo for all these shitty finishes. Jim Cornette has done some shitty finishes in this territory. So if we get a count out in a Falls Count Anywhere match, I almost wouldn't be surprised at this point.
I don't think he's done anything that stupid.
I don't believe so, but there have been some bad ones. So Cactus says the upside down. Cactus Jack crack smash to Boo. Boo missed the middle rope headbutt. Cactus gave the Cactus clothesline to both Boo and Mark Curtis, but Mark Curtis couldn't do his spot right and didn't go over the top rope with them. Now, here's where I got perturbed. A little perturbed about this. So Cactus stole boots from Tammy. And now we know, and you know, and the crowd knows that Cactus is going to take boots and give it back to Boo. However, Boo doesn't know this. He just sees Cactus with boots and thinks, oh my God, he is going to hurt my cat. And so he goes and kicks Cactus Jack's ass. They end up outside the ring and ends up being a double count out. However, Tammy has kidnapped Boots now for about 2 months, and every week she threatens to kill Boots. Why has he never gone after Tammy Fytch in a rage and tried to kick her ass? I get it's man-on-woman violence, etc., but if that's what sets off Boo, what the hell, why does Tammy think she's safe, for instance?
I don't know if you've gathered this from my analysis of the shows recently, but I don't like this cat thing.
No, and again, they don't really have a live cat that they're harassing on the show, but still, keep innocent animals out of this. I'm sure no animals were harmed in the making of this, and I'm assuming any physical angle involving Boots will involve some pantyhose stuffed with ground meat or something. But yeah, no, don't do this, ladies and gentlemen.
No, be nice to kitties.
I'll tell you what, I don't think this happens, but I think this would be a nice turn to the angle where Boo becomes violent because Tammy won't give Boots back and and keeps threatening violence. And so I think that works better than what I think they end up doing here, because it would turn Boo into I think it'd be a better baby face, because now he's fucking pissed and he's fucking violent because these two motherfuckers that he thinks are his friends keep threatening to hurt his cat.
I bet that is better than whatever they end up doing.
Yeah. So let's now go to a Cactus Jack promo where Primetime Brian Lee just happens to be standing nearby.
Christmas Chaos next week. It will be Falls Count Anywhere, and it looked like your little therapy session wasn't quite as effective as perhaps we first thought.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, and folks dressed up like Eskimos. But not for me! And not for Brian Lee! You see, as much as I'd like to lay down to sleep and have visions of sugar fairies dancing through my demented head, it's not that way! Instead, I lay down for a little rest, and I got a vision of Bo Bradley's fat, cellulite-ridden butt staring me in the face, and it makes me sick! And it makes him sick! You say Brian Lee is rejuvenated, I say yeah, too. Look at the look in his eye! He's ready to hurt somebody. And what better way than a Christmas chaos and a match where falls count everywhere? Jim Ross, you look back in your mind and you remember the sport that made Cactus Jack a legend. There's a well-known song that says, you don't spit in Superman's face, you don't pull the mask of the old Lone Ranger, and you don't fight Cactus Jack in a match where falls count anywhere. I'm liable to drop an elbow off the top of the building. Brian Lee at 6'7", 290 pounds, wants to squash Chris Candido like a grape. Squash! It's the most wonderful time of the year, Jim Ross, but for reasons that are all mine, all mine! I've got the patience of a saint, but that needle's on empty, and Boo Bradley, you're gonna pay. Oh, you're gonna pay. Big bang!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, be back with us next week. Jim Cornette right here next week to manage the Rock and Roll Express.
Yeah, I wanted to tell you what's happening next week. So Cactus dreams about Boo Bradley's ass.
You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit into the wind. You don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Jim.
Oh, I thought it was, and you don't have a false count anywhere match with Cactus Jack.
That too.
I know Colette just had Noelle this year, but I don't think she'd be too thrilled if she knew that her husband goes to bed at night thinking about Boo Bradley's ass.
Well, you know.
Boo, or not Boo, but Noelle was on Double or Nothing on Sunday. She was both at and on. Yeah.
That was
yeah.
I'm trying to remember
if she was
give me a second. Let's Google.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. It's funny. So no, she has the same birthday as my wife, and my wife's middle name is Noelle.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, when I'm at work, I occasionally have to ask people what their wife's birthday is, and I just kind of make a joke. Well, you better not forget this one. And most of the time, they laugh. What is your wife's birthday?
December 15th.
Okay.
It's funny.
Oh my God! Wait, time out. Time out. I don't. Oh, maybe she. Okay. I don't remember if Noelle was born in 93 or 94 now.
93.
So okay, well, that makes better sense. I was about to say, Noelle was born December 15th, 1994, and here's Mick Foley wrestling on Smoky Mountain a week beforehand. But instead, happy first birthday, Noelle Foley.
I was, you talk about knowing my wife's birthday. It's funny because, like, every now and then we'll be doing paperwork or something, and I'll have to rattle off my wife's social security number, and it kind of freaks her out. But it's like, with any married couple, if you are the person in the relationship that does paperwork, you eventually memorize your spouse's social security number.
Yes. Yes. The number of wives who give me their husband's social security numbers without hesitation is astounding. In fact, half the time when you ask people, because like, husbands, more often than not, for whatever reason, husbands tend to die first. And so wives call to report their husband's passing. I ask or I'll ask for their social and start giving me their husband's. Like, oh, I'm so used to giving the husband's social that they're just used to it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying the husband doesn't always know, but more often than not, the husband has to look it up.
Not me.
By the way, if Mick Foley at some point during this era, towards the late 90s, if he made a legitimate promise to jump off the building, people would fucking believe it, wouldn't they?
And certain stupid people get upset when you compare Mick Foley and Darby Allin. They're the same fucking wrestler. Darby's not the promo, but they're the same wrestler.
Yes. And Mick Foley's about 120 pounds heavier.
He is, but you know what I mean. Like, you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. You know? Darby Allin is what Jon Moxley wants to be. And I know you get mad anytime I put down Jon Moxley, but, you know.
Jon Moxley is doing just fine being Jon Moxley.
So I know that I try to keep from talking about spoilers with you, and I know you always say you don't give a shit. Do you know what happened at Double or Nothing?
Vaguely.
So Kevin Knight turned on Darby Allin after the main event. And I get one of the things I've always complained about, and it happens a lot in wrestling, is you need to give the wronged babyface, a reason to not keep going after the heel. And by doing this, you're giving Darby Allin now something to focus on. So you're not just like, well, why isn't he going after MJF again? But Kevin Knight, really? Like, I had nothing against Kevin Knight. I think he's a swell wrestler, and I'm sure there'll be very good matches. Just that, I don't know. Like, I think Kevin Knight was in a very good spot and didn't need to be, taken away from that right now, because I don't think, ultimately, like, him and Mike Bailey are not going to come out any better out of this unless you turn Mike Bailey heel too and put them back together as heels.
I think, I don't know. It seems like Bailey would make a better heel than Knight. Knight is such a white meat baby face, and he's got the high flying, and he's just a good looking kid. And Speedball has that face that if he leaned into it just a little bit, he would have a very slappable face.
Oh, most definitely. I could definitely see Mike Bailey being a very dickish, type heel. And I'm sure he's been on like indies and things like that, but I don't think Mike Bailey has been a heel, at least on a, national stage. Because he was a babyface during his entire TNA run.
Yeah, as far as, yeah.
Anyway, 151 down, 49 to go. Next week, Jim Cornette manages the Rock and Roll Express. I was reaching down to get some anger for that because I'm like, why are you giving away the draw of Christmas Chaos? Why are you giving it away before Christmas Chaos? And I guess it's the weekend of Christmas Chaos, but still, I think it's like doing, a no time limit match between Tracy Smothers and Brian Armstrong and having a 6-minute TV match with a clean winner.
Well, who would do that?
I don't know. But yeah, 151 down, 49 to go. What else is happening in the world of wrestling? And wrestling adjacent is more the story of this week's show, as UFC 4 took place this week in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the pre-show shenanigans that eventually bring down UFC to almost the brink of death started with this show, as Senator John McCain came out publicly against the UFC and tried to get the show shut down. The Oklahoma Boxing Commission goes into effect on January 1st, and they had said that if they had the jurisdiction at this point, they would have canceled the show, but they didn't have the ability to. So McCain went to the pay-per-view providers, but because the advance buys for this show were so high, the pay-per-view companies basically said, no, we're not canceling it either. And so UFC 4 went on, and that is not the end of this story. Honestly, I didn't realize until I read it in the Observer that it started this early. For some reason, I'm like, it didn't start until like UFC 6 or 7. But nope, it's already starting here at UFC 4.
John McCain sucks.
Yes, he does. Although I don't know. I don't even say it was the last election that was a clean election for the most part, because you had fucking Palin was amping up all the dirtiness on her side. Just because McCain occasionally said nice things about Obama doesn't mean that it was a clean election.
It was the last election where the Republican candidate was anything resembling a decent human being. Like even the facade of being a decent human being.
Yes. And to think we're at this point we're almost begging for the days of Mitt Romney back.
Oh,
I said
mittens.
almost. I said almost.
Almost.
However, this story of UFC 4 does not just end with that, because the show went off the air during the main event. Now, up to this, what am I trying to say here? Okay, so when you bought satellite time for pay-per-view, they charged you by half-hour increments. And so UFC, the first 3 UFC shows, Semaphore Entertainment Group, which was the parent company, they bought 3 hours of pay-per-view time, but on each show, they would use less than 2 hours. So it was costing them extra money when they ended up not using the time. And so this show, they're like, okay, we never go more than 2 hours, so we're going to book 2 hours of pay-per-view time. And you know exactly what happened. The show went longer than 2 hours. And it's funny because the show, when the final went to the cage, there was 12 minutes of time left. And no UFC fight had ever gone more than 10 minutes at this point. And so okay, we're pushing it, but it should end by that point. And it didn't. As the final between Dan the Beast Severn and Royce Gracie went what to this point was the longest fight in UFC history of just over 16 minutes. Severn had taken down Gracie and could not put him away. And eventually Gracie from the bottom used a triangle choke and Severn tapped. And the funny thing is, they're running out of time, so Campbell McLaurin, who's the guy who was basically in charge, he's calling the cable companies to get them to extend it. And the big cities like Philadelphia, New York, all of them, they have updated systems that are run by computers, so it goes automatically off the air at the end of your scheduled time. So all those, I would say backwoods, but the smaller metropolitan areas, the more rural areas, if you were in those areas, you saw the whole show because there was a person there that didn't flip the switch and just let it keep going. But if you lived in Philadelphia, New York, Detroit, Los Angeles, you missed Royce Gracie coming from behind to pick up the win.
Bummer.
So yeah, yep. And the funny thing is, there was also while they were panicking, they thought about calling the fight after 10 minutes and awarding the winner on points or whatever, which would have been Severn because he was dominating the whole fight, which also would have pissed off every person named Gracie and every person involved in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because, how dare you give Royce Gracie a loss based on that? It's well, pay-per-view time is pay-per-view time, ladies and gentlemen. That is the first reason why time limits eventually come in to become a thing.
Yeah, the second reason is at UFC 5. I went through an MMA fan phase in, I don't know, 2009, 10, 11, 12-ish in there. Mm-hmm. And the first Strikeforce show that I ever watched, it was one of the CBS shows. And they had whatever the amount of time was not time for 3 title fights to go 5 rounds. And I was in a chat with some friends, and I'm like, well, what are they going to do if all the fights go the distance? They're not going to all go the distance. And that was it was Gilbert Melendez and Shinya Aoki. I think King Mo and Gegard Musashi, and then Jake Shields and Dan Henderson. and they all three went 5 rounds.
And it's like, I think like there were 3 fights that like we're putting together like action-packed fights. So these aren't going to go 25 minutes each, and then they went 25 minutes each. And then because it wasn't that one, it was the next one was the Nashville one where they had the fucking Diaz brothers.
With Mayhem Miller and that,
Yep. That got them kicked off CBS for good.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, I did, because I watched that Strikeforce show that you were talking about. I also saw the Nashville show, but like I like the Elite XC stuff better for whatever reason. You know, I just thought they were niftier.
I didn't see any
this
of
is
that.
This before Kimbo got exposed. God. By the way, you might be wondering, Arya, UFC is not pro wrestling, no matter what Dave Meltzer says. Tell us some wrestling news. I would love to. There's really wasn't much to talk about. If UFC didn't exist, I don't know what the hell Dave would have talked about this week, because the best I could get out of it was that the WWF announced that Diesel versus Bret Hart for the title was official for the Royal Rumble. And it's going to be the first big test of Diesel's title reign. And also the Smoking Guns stormed out of the TV taping because they got replaced in the tag team title tournament by the 1-2-3 Kid and Bob Sparkplug Holly. And the Guns were originally booked to go to the finals of the tournament, which meant a pay-per-view payday and a tidy little bonus, and possibly the belts too. Now, don't worry, things work out for Bart and Billy Gunn.
I was going to say something, and I lost it. Must not have been very interesting.
Was it about how Bart Gunn?
Oh,
I
think it's the week before Christmas. It's a slow news week.
Yes, it is. This is the days, not very long before, but this is the days before both promotions running monthly pay-per-views. So it's not like, well, we can just spend 5 pages previewing that. I guess buried in the Observer was talk about the weekly pro wrestling show and the politics behind that show. Because apparently All Japan is considering sending a preliminary match instead of a main event 6-man tag type match to the show. And we all remember how that worked out. But also, some companies are also refusing to send a match if women are involved, because they feel that women should not be involved in pro wrestling.
Yeah, dumb.
Maybe they're upset that Moolah isn't sending Velvet McIntyre, versus Judy
Leilani
Martin.
Kai. Leilani Kai is great.
You got to get those one-piece swimsuits in the Tokyo Dome. With like the big, long, elongated back where you can see all those precious backbones.
Because that's the show. That's the show where they said like the All Japan and New Japan, like the Chono and Hashimoto match went last, even though like the All Japan 6-man tag that went before it was a lot better. Because the rationale was that, well, New Japan is the older company because New Japan was founded like 6 months before All Japan. But by that logic, the main event should have been the All Japan women's match. Because All Japan women's was founded in like 1968.
Also, wasn't it like Chono and Hashimoto an IWGP title match?
I am not exactly sure. It is reported in some places, but I am not sure it is actually like recognized by New Japan.
Okay. I mean, I guess we don't know for sure, but like that, I would think that would be the impetus for that more than anything else.
The story that I've always heard was the the seniority thing,
which is just really, really weird.
I'm gonna see if that title defense is on the New Japan website, because it has like shit like that wasn't authorized, like Muda against Paul Orndorff at Slamboree with 95. Like that's not
Yeah.
a recognized. And then you know what is? It's weird. The fucking like two random Scott Norton Nitro matches from late '98 that I watched
Yep.
those shows a few years ago, and there was no mention of them. Like he had the belt because Vincent carried the belt, but it's like it wasn't mentioned on TV as being a title match. I don't know. Maybe Pinzer said it, and you could never fucking hear Pinzer anyway.
Well, that was WCW production that became TNA production. For the most part, they just talked over the ring announcing. But weren't they going to do Scott Norton versus, I think, Booker T at World War III for the IWGP title, and it ended up not happening?
I don't know. Uh, Harlem Heat challenged, I think it was like Hashimoto and Harada, something for the IWGP tag titles on like one of those WCW World in Japan tours.
Nice. Um, so you do have also the history of New Japan titles changing hands in America. Juventud Guerrera smashing a bottle of tequila over Jushin Thunder Liger's head to win the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title.
And wasn't even the last time that Vince Russo did an unauthorized New Japan title change.
Oh God, that Team 3D, not World Elite, British Invasion IWGP tag title change.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Brutus Magnus and Doug Williams were the IWGP tag team champions.
I mean, especially now if you say, hey, Nick Aldis was a IWGP tag champion, it's like, oh, okay. But Brutus Magnus and Nick Aldis may be the same person, but they were not the same person. You know, that kind of thing.
By the way, the match from the Bridge of Dreams Tokyo Dome show is not listed by New Japan as a title match.
Interesting. I just always kind of assumed that it was. So, since we're talking about Team 3D, kind of, did you see what your bestie and Matt Hardy got into a fight about? Not a fight with each other, but a fight on the internet.
I did. I had a fucking hit tweet about it.
I'll be honest, I should check out your Twitter then. Apparently there's a man who exists in this world named Joel Pearl. And Joel Pearl was giving his opinion on the Hardy's Team 3D tables match from Bound for Glory last year, and he said the match was stupid. And I say this as somebody who was there. It was well received stupidity. At times it was entertaining stupidity, but it was stupid. And I guess I'll say Matt Hardy and Bully Ray, they take their art very seriously. And that is commendable. That, you think highly enough of yourself that, you want to defend what you do. But they're on Twitter, like, I don't know if threatening is the right word, but like they're daring this guy to appear on Busted Open Radio, and they're getting into a hissy fit because this guy said it was stupid.
It was okay. I only saw the finish, but the finish
that was stupid.
Fucking stupid.
Yes.
And yeah, I have a tweet making fun of the finish that is currently sitting at over 2,000 likes.
Let's see. I don't know how you always get so much attention. I have far more followers than you. You get far more attention than I do. I guess I don't care enough to complain. Not complain. I don't care enough to comment on wrestling enough. Oh, I did. I actually like this. Bully begging to be put down and pooping his pants in front of everyone. Cinema. Yeah, that was the finish where and I remember when I was watching it, I'm like, he's telling them to beat him. He just decided at the end of the match, I'm not going to try to fight back, guys. Just put me through the table and put me out of my misery.
Well, I don't know if you've ever shit yourself in public, but you don't want to move too much. You got to move, but it's best to get out of the match as fast as you can and then go deal with your problem.
You keep saying that. People are gonna think he has his pants.
Look at his fucking face. He looks like Alex Jones fucking trying to drop a grumpy.
You could have just said he looks like Alex Jones, because he really does.
He does.
Oh Lord. I mean, let's be honest. I don't know how the Hardys are still going. I don't know how Edge and Christian are still going. Team 3D, like Devon retired forever ago. Bully, honestly, Bully had that nice little run a few years ago with him and Josh Alexander. That should have been when he tapped out and, not bother coming back. But yeah, like this was well-received stupidity. And believe me, extremely well-received stupidity. The crowd went nut that night for that match. I was just saying that. And believe me, there was some shitty ass booking on that show, and it was saved by the fact that the Hardys wrestled Team 3D. Not that they had a good match, but because they wrestled each other, it appeased the crowd, who was ready to fucking riot after two really shitty finishes back to back.
Oh, that was when they did the fucking like Leon Slater and Javon Evans, and they had somebody run in and beat them both up or something.
They for the exhibition title, they did a 20-minute time limit draw. Then they restarted the match because there must be a winner, and then Dark Slate ran out and attacked them for the no contest. And they had a fucking banger. And it came out of WWE didn't want too many of their guys to lose, and Trick Williams had to lose on that show. And so that's what happened there. Who would have fucking cared at this point if Javon Evans had lost to Leon Slater 7 months ago? But that fucking match was a fucking banger. That fucking killed. And that was the finish they did. And then before that, they did the Collier Shot Gauntlet match where I think they did the double pin finish with Kazarian and Nick Nemeth. And then that was it. And I was like, people shit on that one too. I don't even remember if
a lot
Nick
of bad
Nemeth has
finishes.
cashed in. Yeah. I don't remember if Nick Nemeth has cashed in his Collier Shot yet. I know Kazarian did because he won the title. But yeah. But yeah. Welcome to TNA. TNA coming to Boston for Slammiversary in a few weeks. And despite complaining, I am definitely considering going to that.
To what? Okay.
Slammiversary in Boston. Yes,
Yeah,
at the Gaines Arena.
Yeah, something to do. Go ahead.
Yeah.
If you must.
If I must. That's a way to put it. Let's see. I'm trying to see if Nemeth has cashed in yet, but I can't. I'm not seeing anything confirming that or not. It doesn't matter. Anyway, 300th episode this Wednesday. Not just TNA, not just more TNA, but also my special surprise. And Trae, I don't want to, tip my hat, but I've technically already given you a pretty massive hint about the special surprise.
Okay.
But we'll see. Trae's like counting down the minutes until we tape the show on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's going to do it for this week's show. We got to rest our voices because there's a lot of shows. So I guess we haven't figured out, are we actually going to do a show next week? I've given you the out. If you don't want to do Smoky Mountain next week because you're doing Impact and just push it back a week, that's fine. Just let me know.
Yeah, because that's like a lot. So
yeah,
maybe. We'll probably take off next week since
And I know you're filling in a couple more times in June, but I forget what days. I think it's the 16th and 23rd, but I'll double check with Cindy.
Anytime that I have to watch like an extra 3 hours of TNA that week, let's put Smoky Mountain off a week.
Sounds good. So we may be skipping about a month of Smoky Mountain here a little bit. We're celebrating the holidays, the 1994 Christmas holidays here.
It'll
But
still be there.
yeah, that's gonna do it for this week's show. Thank you all for listening. I hope you all enjoy the show. We'll talk to you again in 7 days.
Bye.